Hello everyone, welcome to Manika AS. Let us start our discussion with respect to daily news analysis. Let's first see the topic that we'll be taking today. So the very first topic that we'll be taking today will be cervical cancer. Then we'll be taking World Economic Forum, then lithium and multidimensional poverty. So these all these four topics are very relevant because we have recent updates with respect to these. Let's discuss each topic one by one. So the very first topic is your cervical cancer. So why this topic was seen in news? Because Government of India is planning to introduce the immunization for this cervical cancer into universal immunization program for the girls aging 9 to 14 years of age. Okay, now why so we'll be discussing later, but first of all let us understand what is cervical cancer. So cervical cancer is basically the cancer of cervix, which is a narrow end of the uterus. Okay, so obviously then it is specifically related to women. So let us first understand of stages of cancer before we proceed further, because it will help us in understanding the role of vaccines. Okay, see, this is your normal cell. You do not have any infected cell. If you have very few infected cells, that means it is referred to as a situation called dysplasia. And if there is increase in number of cells, then it becomes neoplasia. Now these two forms are benign tumors because the cancerous cells are restricted to one particular place, but when they started spreading to other organs or other places, then that condition is referred to as malignant tumor and invasive neoplasia. Invasive because now it can invade in other areas as well. Okay, and this is where the treatment of any sort of cancer became difficult. Benign stage is easy to cure. Okay, that's where we'll be discussing the role of vaccine in this particular topic. Now let's see why government is planning. So if you see the burden of cervical cancer in India, इंडिया के अंदर the second most common cancer in women is your cervical cancer. Okay, and that too specifically in the middle aged women. Second thing is India is bearing the burden of one fifth of the cases globally which are related to the cervical cancer. So much so that it has 1.23 lakh new cases and 77,000 deaths in 2022. Okay, now this is the intensity and this is the density of the cases that are there in India. So which has forced the government of India to thought that they need to give vaccine related to the cervical cancer in the national immunization program. Okay, now what are the causes? It is human papilloma virus infection. Okay, and this is the major reason. If you get infected by human papillomavirus, then other factors include low socioeconomic conditions, immunity status, and genital infection, smoking, etc. If your body is capable and strong enough, it can fight the infection of this. Now, if you get infected by human papillomavirus, and at the same time you are living in a very unhygienic, you have low immunity, then the chances of that infection turning into a disease increases. And this is not only relevant to one particular one particular kind of infection, but with any kind of infection, your status of immunity matters when it comes to fighting against the any sort of invasive pathogen. So that is why these cofactors aid the chances of cancer. Okay. Now, the good part is that the cervical cancer is preventable and curable if you can detect it early stages. Mein. As we discussed, if you can find it out in your benign stages, it can be cured. However, when it is malignant, it's very difficult to cure. So now detection का benefit क्या है, like why you say that it can be detectable also, because it has a long pre-invasive period. That means it stays for about 10 to 15 years in benign stage. So the benign stage is very prolonged. So if you continue to do regular monitoring, regular screening, then it is very much feasible that you figure it out and you detect it and then you cure it. Okay. So that is why you have the window is very big for screening and detection of any sort of cervical cancer in any human body. Okay. Now, prevention, it can be prevented through HPV virus, HPV vaccination, that is human papilloma virus vaccination. So now this is the stage where government is intervening and they are trying to introduce this to universal immunization program. Now let's see what is the issue at present. Issue is that the detection is generally happening when the situation is in advanced stage, because that is the stage when the symptoms are more apparent. That's why people tend to go to doctors at that time, consult doctors at that time. So there is a lack of awareness also, that people are not taking their health seriously, that they're not able to screen themselves at the time when it can be detectable and cured at the same time. So detection is generally happening in advanced stages, which is resulting in high mortality. So if the problem is in detection, you need to bring it down during the early stages rather than advanced stages. And lack of awareness, it is aided by this. Fear of cancer, early symptoms of disease are not evident. So if you are asymptomatic, then people don't even think the need to get regular health checkups. Then women are not being screened. Okay. So what is the cure? Now the cervical cancer is the only non-communicable disease that can be eliminated. Okay, when it is detected in early stages. Now, if you are able to do that, you can meet the target of Sustainable Development Goal 3.4, which is reducing premature death by one third by 2030. So, this can be your conclusion if you have any question with respect to your such questions with respect to health or cancer in your mains exam. Now, WHO, what are the guidelines given by WHO with respect to the cervical cancer? WHO says that you need intervention which are simple, feasible, and scalable, and such are also already available in low and middle income countries. So they need to be expanded. It has developed a strategy based on three pillars: that you increase the spread of human papilloma viruses vaccination, then you regularly screen your women, and early diagnostic, because early diagnosis means you can cure it, and then 93% chances that if early diagnosis happen, then the patient can be cured. So the chances of cure is very high. So if you screen them earlier, you will be able to cure them as well. Now, treatment of cervical pre-cancer and cancer. So these three are the pillars. Let's see the proper goals, targets. The target is 90% of the girls should be fully vaccinated by 15 years of the age with two dosage of HPV virus. Okay. 70% of the women screened with a high performance test at 35 to 45. In between, because we are saying it is largely affecting middle aged women. So in this age group, you should screen 70% of women. Then next is 90% of women with cervical precancer and cancer receiving treatment, including palliative care, to achieve a goal of fewer than 4 cases per 1 lakh. So you need to bring down your cases to 4 per 1 lakh. These are the targets which are being set by the WHO. What are the initiative taken by the government of India? So they have include cancer screening by trained nurses in primary health under National Program for Prevention and Control of Cancer, Diabetes, Cardiovascular Disease and Stroke. Okay. Then what are the screening tool available? Visual screening test, HPV test. They are simple and they are easily available. Then any sort of precancerous abnormality is detected, it can be treated by simple and painless outpatient treatment. If there is pre-cancer development that starts, as we discussed the stages, if the stage is not of a cancer but a pre-cancer, it can be detected and treated. Then you have indigenous HPV test kits available. Then the new development is single dosage of HPV vaccination. Like it is saying ki 90% girls should be vaccinated with two dosage. So it is saying single dose is now also available. These are the new developments. And self-sampling kits are also available in case women are hesitant to visit the doctor and get themselves, screened. So self-screening kits are also available. This is in order to ensure that they reach nook and corner of the state. Now, what is the need? Need is to increase awareness, as we discussed. You need to encourage the uptake of HPV virus. Okay, vaccine hesitancy is a bigger issue with respect to India. In India, not with respect to HPV, but overall, people are very hesitant. There are sort of misinformation which is being spread that vaccination also leads to disease development. So people are, in general, not willing to take vaccinations. Although some people who are educated, who are not fallen prey to the misinformation, are ready, but the vast majority of population in India is still not ready to take vaccination, is still hesitant with respect to the vaccination. So that is why then you have to have capacity building for scaling up pre-cancer treatment. You need to have that resources as well. You need to have the availability of nurses, trained professionals. Then you also have to have infrastructure. So you need to do the capacity building as we see during the COVID pandemic. We have to develop some sort of temporary hospitals. More staff was needed. Hospital staff was under pressure. So we realized at that time also that we need to build the capacity. Okay. Then integration of latest technology in screening program, strengthening cancer registries both at population as well as hospital based, reduce the financial burden of care. Here the role of your Ayushman Bharat comes in. To build and strengthen partnership at primary, secondary, and tertiary hospitals. So you need to develop a proper network in primary, secondary, and tertiary hospital. You need to, cater to the needs. You need to increase awareness, remove vaccine hesitancy, improve capacity building. So these are all the initiatives that need to be taken in order to germinate an environment which is friendly to women as well as their health. So that was about the cervical cancer. Now let's move to the next topic, which is your World Economic Forum. So why it is seen in news? It is seen in news because annual meeting of World Economic Forum is going on from January 15 to 19 in Davos, Switzerland. Okay. So in this article, we'll be discussing, since the outcomes of this meeting are yet to come, we will discuss about the origin of World Economic Forum. So it was German professor Klaus Schwab who founded it in 1971, and it was originally called European Management Forum. Okay. It was initially not related to economic and social affair, but rather management. So that was the purpose of this organization when it was founded in 1971. He was a mechanical engineering graduate and a master of public administration. However, this EMF, European Management Forum, also introduced the concept of stakeholder capitalism. Now, what is a stakeholder capitalism? It is a form of capitalism in which companies do not only optimize short-term profits for shareholder but seek long-term value creation by taking into account needs of all stakeholders and society at large. So, what do you get from it? See, there are two terms, shareholders and stakeholders. Let us understand the difference between the two. Shareholders are the people who are holding the shares, who have their stake in a particular company. However, stakeholders are the people who are impacted by the company. Say, for example, Tata Industries are there in India. Some of you might be having one or two or maybe more than that shares of percentage shares of that particular company. So you become a shareholder. But since they are operating in this country, fellow companies, the civilians, are impacted by their working. Say, for example, today they start any sort of building project. So, if any impact on the environment is being made by them, then we are the stakeholders involved, environment is a stakeholder which is involved, and if they are taking some land, the land which of they're taking some land, so the people who are already on the land became the stakeholders. So we and society at a large. So it says that not only you have to see the profit for your shareholders, but you also have to consider your stakeholders involved. So this was a term which was given by this European Management Forum, that is stakeholder capitalism. All right. Now let's see how did it came into being the present day World Economic Forum. In 1973, many crises hit, which were collapse of Bretton Woods fixed exchange rate. Then Arab-Israeli war was there. So in all these background, the annual meeting expanded its focus from management to economic and social issues, as it was standing for stakeholder capitalism. And after 2 years, organization introduced a system of membership for 1,000 leading companies of the world. It has also been used for pivotal international diplomacy, can break tensions in Davos. Then from that there it expanded into becoming a World Economic Forum. And at present it also releases global competitive report and also global gender gap report. So first it was some then first it became into a, a grouping of the companies, and then it expanded from the word to take place, the diplomacy to take place. That's and now it releases these two report as well. So this is a very important point with respect to your prelims: global competitiveness index and gender gap report. This is very important. So what are the key topics that are expected to be discussed? They'll be discussing about the world economy at present, because we have discussed many times that it has been impacted by COVID pandemic first, then Russia Ukraine war, then we have also seen wars like Israel and Hamas issues, and then we have also seen the Houthi attacks. Everything together, the global economy is not looking into a very good shape. So that's why they'll be discussing about world economy, then Ukraine defense against Russia, and artificial intelligence. After this meeting, one or the first day of the meeting, one interesting thing happened, that the Russian president called the Indian prime minister, where Indian prime minister promised support to the Russian president, despite of the fact that during the economic forum it was the other war countries who said that India can play a pivotal role in Russia's establishing peace with the Ukraine. So these kind of global diplomacy occur at this particular place. So this was about this particular topic. Now let's move to the next topic, which is your lithium. So why it was seen in news? The thing is, now this is a very interesting and important development from Indian point of view. So India will be pumping 200 crores to develop 5 lithium blocks in Argentina. So lithium is a very rare material which is very essential to develop semiconductors and your lithium ion batteries, which are which play a pivotal role in your transition to electric vehicles, and it's a future for your electric transition. Okay, so now let's see one thing which is referred to as lithium triangle. So lithium triangle is this particular place. This is your Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina. These three countries are referred to as lithium triangle because there are rich sources of lithium which are found in this particular place. Also, another resource of lithium is your Australia. However, in Australia, India has lost the bit for lithium exploration, despite of the fact that today also they are in good talk with Australia for having such explorations. However, India has not seen any sort of outcome in their favor so far with respect to Australia. but we have been able to get the 5 sites for lithium exploration in the country of Argentina. So this is the most important thing. Another important thing that you must know is India has also founded lithium reserve, but it is in very less amount in Riasi district of Jammu and Kashmir. This was another discovery which was important with respect to Indian perspective. Now let's understand few things with respect to lithium. See, lithium is the single most important critical mineral for energy transition, as we discussed. It is a soft silver white material, as you can see. This is a very silvery in color. Okay. So, what are the properties? See, these all information are important for your prelim point of view. Okay. Lightest material, and it is the least dense solid material. The density is less, that's why it is very soft. Okay. And it is highly reactive and flammable. Chemical properties, they readily form compound because as you can see the number is 3, and when you have 3 you have one free electron. If you see, this is your one free electron that you can donate, and that is why they are highly reactive as well. Okay. Occurrence, it is a rare element in nature, found in trace amounts. Then major sources of lithium are spodumene, lepidolite, and pedalite. These three are the major sources of. This is important for your prelims. UPSC can ask that you have seen spodumene and lepidolite and pedalite with respect to which of the following element. Then they can be given 3 to 4 options, and then you have to pick. Such type of question can come from this point. So you remember this. Now, if you see the applications, batteries, as we discussed, lithium ion batteries, then smartphones के अंदर जो यूज होती हैं, लैपटॉप्स, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स, because they have high energy density. Okay. Then industrial application, production of glass, ceramics, and lubricating greases. They are all. It is also used in pharmaceutical for making drugs related to mood disorders and bipolar disorder, which such as lithium carbonate. Then it also has nuclear application. Lithium 6 is used in some type of nuclear reactors. Okay. So these are the applications of lithium. Well, let's see the challenges. See, lithium, the extraction of lithium itself is challenging with respect to your environment. Land, land degradation can happen, water contamination can happen. Why water contamination? The release of elements, and second, it need a lot of water to extract lithium as well. So that is why it environmentally it is very challenging. What are the future prospect? Future prospect, the demand has been increasing. China is the country which is tapping more of the lithium reserves in the countries of Australia and at some of the country of this South America, lithium triangle as well. So it is very important as the need of India is going to be growing because it is most populated country in the world at present. So that's why as per the needs, we need to tap these resources to make a transition in energy with respect to electric energies. Okay, electric vehicles. Okay, so this was about lithium. Now let us discuss multidimensional poverty index. See, according to the Niti Aayog report of the Multidimensional Poverty Index, almost 24 crore people have been able to escape multidimensional poverty in last 9 years, and the percentage has fallen to 11.28% from 30. So it is 30 to 12% approximately. So 18% decline. Okay. It also says the severity of deprivation has declined. So if this is your graph from 2016, then you have 2019, and then at present 2023. So during this period, the decrease in severity was at a higher rate as compared to this period owing to your COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Now let's see what are the findings of the index. So in it says in 2005 2006 The share of MPI poor in India total population was 54 to 34, 55.34%. Now it also says, and now we are what we are seeing it is 11%. So almost in last 2 decades, 20 years, we have been able to bring it down to 44%. ठीक है? Now it highlights coronavirus pandemic अगर नहीं होता, then the share of MPI poor will be more less, would have been more less. Okay. It also said that India is likely to achieve a sustainable development goal target 1.2, which want reduction at least by half of the proportion of men, women, children living in the poverty in all dimension. That means it's saying कि at least you need to decrease 50% of multidimensional poverty by 2030. We'll be able to achieve this target much before the deadline. ठीक है. It also said the standard of living dimension show the highest level of deprivation in 2005 to 2006. Now, Jharkhand has recorded a 50% drop from 47.3%. If we are talking about some states, so Bihar and Jharkhand have shown significant decrease. It has recorded Bihar has recorded 53% drop, whereas Jharkhand has recorded a 50% drop. So this was the performance with respect to state. So this was it for today. If you have any other question, you may please ask in the comment section below. And please download the PDF from the Telegram channel. The link will be in the description box below. Thank you. Have a nice day.